Hi everyone. Today we are discussing about enzymes and enzymatic catalysis. In previous class, we are discussing enzymes and enzymatic catalysis, part 1. In that part 1, we are discussing what is catalyst and types of catalysts. Here, two types of catalyst is there. One is homogeneous catalysis and heterogeneous catalysis, and in that part homogeneous catalysis and heterogeneous catalysis and enzymatic catalysis process. So today class generally enzymatic catalysis is explained through two mechanisms. So enzymatic catalysis mechanism or catalytic mechanism, here two methods are there. One is lock and key method and second one induced fit method. So here first we are discussing about lock and key method. So in this method so this is the enzyme and this is a substrate, and here the substrate binded with or attached with enzyme, and it forms enzyme substrate complex, and this enzyme substrate complex forms enzyme product complex, and finally the product is leaves the enzyme and it forms newly enzyme. So in this method the name itself is telling lock and key. So as we know, every lock is having specific structure for the fitments of its key. In this method the name itself lock and key is, as we know, every lock is having specific structure for the fitments of its key. So here also what is happening, so the enzyme is having one active center which is similar structure where it can accept a substrate. That means the active center of enzyme is having similar structure of substrate. So here the substrate will approach the enzyme and it forms enzyme substrate complex, so that this substrate can be fitted into the active center of the enzyme. So then it will give enzyme substrate complex. Enzyme substrate complex. Now what happened here, whatever the substrate which is binding, which is the substrate or substract which is binding with enzyme will react to each other and which undergo a per reaction and it forms enzyme product complex. Finally it forms enzyme product complex. So whenever the product is formed, immediately the product leaves the enzyme, so that we will get the free enzyme. So this is the process or method of lock and key. So here enzyme and substrate both are binded to each other, or here substrate attached with enzyme and it forms enzyme substrate complex, and this enzyme substrate complex this is form enzyme product complex, and finally the product is leaves from enzyme and finally the pure enzyme is formed, and these are free enzyme is formed, and this enzyme further react with substrate and again it forms enzyme substrate complex. So this is the lock and key process or lock and key method. So the next, the second one, induced fit method. So this is the process of induced fit method. Here the induced fit method is different from lock and key method. Here the induced fit method is different to the lock and key method. So here enzyme is having a active center with different structure. Enzyme is having a active center with different structure because we can't predict or we may not be knowing. We can't predict or we may not be knowing. So here the enzyme may have different kind of active centers. Enzymes are having a different kind of active centers. The structures of active centers would be different from the substrate structure. Enzymes are having different kind of active centers, and that structures of active centers would be different from the substrate structures. So enzymes are having certain active centers which is having a one type of structure. Enzymes are having certain active centers, so which is having a one type of structure, and substrate is having a another type of structure. Enzymes are having certain active centers which is having one type of structure, and substrate is also having a one another type of structure. So here what will happen, because of the presence of substrate, so here because of the presence of substrate, as the substrate will approaching the enzyme, now what will happen, the substrate induces the enzyme which converted to the active centers. So the structure to the similar structure of substrate, so that substrate can be fitted into the active center. So because of the induction of substrate, so the active center site is changes to the similar structure of substrate. So that substrate is fit into the substrate is fit into the enzyme, then enzyme substrate complex is formed. So then automatically it is converted to it is converted into enzyme product complex. Then the product leaves the enzyme and free enzyme will be available. So this is the induced fit method. So here firstly the substrate is approaches or fit into the enzyme, then enzyme substrate complex is formed, and this enzyme substrate complex is converted to enzyme product complex, and from this enzyme product complex the product will leaves to the enzyme, leaves from the enzyme, and free enzyme will be available or free enzyme will be formed. So this is the induced fit method. So this induced fit method is the most favorable process. This induced fit method is most favorable process because enzyme active centers structure are always different from the structure of substrate. So because enzyme active centers of structures are always different from the structures of substrate. So this is the induced fit method. So the next, the characteristics of enzymes. In this process we are first discussing about enzymes are effective catalyst. Enzymes are effective catalyst. So these are the highly effective catalysts. These are the highly effective catalysts because by using enzyme we can increase the rate of reaction. By using the enzymes we can increase the rate of reaction about to 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 20 times. That means the rate of reaction would be increased a large number. But in the case of normal catalyst like metal catalyst, we can increase the rate up to 2 times or 10 times, maximum of 20 or 30 times. But we cannot increase the rate of but we cannot increase the rate this much of times. So that's why enzymes are highly effective catalyst which can increase the rate of reaction about to 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 20 times. So the next specialty of enzymes. Specialty of enzymes. So here generally the enzymes are highly specific. Generally enzymes are highly specific because one enzyme can act as a catalyst in one particular reaction only. Generally enzymes are highly specific because one enzyme can act as a catalyst in one particular reaction only. In no other reaction this enzyme acts as a catalyst. So that's why the enzymes are highly specific in a nature. So for example here urease enzyme is acting as a catalyst in the case of hydrolysis of urea only. The urease enzyme is acting as a catalyst in the case of hydrolysis of urea only. So here NH2 C double bond O NH2, this is the formula of urea, and this urea undergoes hydrolysis in presence of urease and it forms ammonia and CO2. So this urease is acting, this is the enzyme, this is acting as a catalyst, this catalyst acting as a so this enzyme is acting as a catalyst. So the next example, so here, but if we take hydrolysis of methyl urea, but if we take hydrolysis of methyl urea, urease cannot act as a catalyst. In hydrolysis of methyl urea, this urease enzyme cannot act as a catalyst because urease is very specific. Urease is very specific. So urease can act as a catalyst in hydrolysis of methyl urea. So it acts as a catalyst in only hydrolysis of urea only. So we know other reactions like methyl urea, ethyl urea, hydrolysis urease cannot act as a catalyst. So here the methyl urea formula is NH2 C double bond O NH CH3. This is the formula of methyl urea. This methyl urea undergoes hydrolysis in presence of urease. This reaction in this reaction urease cannot act as a catalyst. So here no reaction. So the next we are discussing factors affecting the enzymatic catalysis. Factors affecting the enzymatic catalysis. So in this factors affecting in the enzymatic catalysis, first we are discussing effect of temperature. So in generally as the temperature increases, the rate of reaction will be increases. Generally the temperature is increases, the rate of reaction will also increases. So here generally the enzyme catalysis also the temperature increases. So the rate of reaction increases up to a certain limit, then the rate of reaction will be decreases. Generally enzyme catalysis also as the temperature increases, so the rate of reaction will also increases up to a certain limit, then after the rate of reaction will be decreases because when we increases the temperature, some changes occurring in the enzymes. If increases the temperature, some changes occurring in the enzymes, because enzymes are made up with proteins. So proteins are highly sensitive to the temperature. Proteins are highly sensitive to the temperature. So the temperature increases, then denaturation process takes place. So if we increase the temperature, the denaturation process takes place in the enzymes. That is nothing but proteins. So what happened here? Here the denaturation process takes place. So enzymes may not be active, that so automatically the rate of reaction decreases. So here, if you observe here, so this is a y-axis, this is a x-axis. Here we are taking rate of reaction. This is the temperature. So here, as the temperature increases, the rate of reaction also increases up to certain limit. Here increases the temperature, the rate of reaction will be increases up to certain limit, the maximum, and then will be decreases. So here in the between 30 to 40 degrees, here between 30 to 40 degrees centigrade temperature, the rate of reaction is increasing more. So that's why the optimum temperature is 30 to 40 degrees centigrade. That's why the optimum temperature range is 30 to 40 degrees centigrade. And at 37 degrees centigrade temperature, the rate is maximum. The rate is very high. At 37 degrees centigrade, the rate is maximum, or the rate is very high. So the rate of enzymatic catalysis reaction is very high. So that is called as optimum temperature. That is nothing but our body temperature. That means most of the enzymes are highly active. Most of the enzymes are highly active, and the rate of the enzymatic catalysis, the rate of the enzymatic catalysis reaction is more at our body temperature. So which is nothing but at 37 degrees centigrade temperature. So that's why that is called optimum temperature. So this is the effective of uh, enzymatic temperature. So in generally, enzymes are most effective at optimum temperature. Generally, enzymes are most effective at optimum temperature. So here, initially, as increasing the temperature, the rate increases at 37 degrees centigrade temperature, and getting maximum after that, the rate of reaction will be decreases. So this 37 degrees centigrade is a optimum temperature. 37 degrees is a optimum temperature in between 30 and 40, as the rate is more. So that is called optimum temperature range. So here of course some of the very few enzymes may be active less than 30 degrees centigrade or more than 40 to 50 degrees centigrade temperature also, but those are very few. So this is the what is the effective of temperature on enzymatic catalytic process. So then next we are discussing effect of pH. So here the pH, whether it is acidic pH or basic pH. The acidic pH means pH is less than 7, that is nothing but 1 2 3 4 like that. So if the pH is more than 7, that is basic pH, that means 7 8 9 10 like that. So enzymes are nothing but proteins. As the proteins product is there, so automatically enzymes are highly sensitive to the pH changes. So here generally the pH, whether it is acidic pH or basic pH. So here acidic pH means the pH is less than 7, that is nothing but 1 2 3 4. Whether it is basic pH, that is 7, that is that means 7 8 9 10 like that. So generally enzymes are nothing but proteins. As the proteins product is there, so automatically enzymes are highly sensitive to the pH change, because in the case of low pH, that is nothing but high acidity. Because in the case of low pH, that is nothing but high acidity. So if here if in the case of high pH, that is nothing but high basicity. If the pH is low, that is nothing but high acidity. If the pH is very high, if the pH is high, that is nothing but high basicity. So at that pH values, what is happening to the proteins? The proteins becomes undergo for denaturation. It is nothing but the proteins becomes undergoes denaturations, so that enzymes are inactive in position. In that enzymes are inactive in position, so that that is a rate of enzymatic reactions would be very very less. So that's why as the pH increasing, the rate of reaction increases at pH 7, and it is getting maximum, and it is getting maximum. So here generally pH increasing. So here this is a y axis, this is the x axis. Here in x axis we are taking pH, and y axis, that is rate of reaction. So increasing the pH, the rate of reaction will be increases certain limit, that is pH 7, and it getting maximum, then after it is decreases. So this is the effect of pH on enzymatic catalysis rate of reaction. So here in between 6 to 8, in between 6 to 8, the enzyme catalysis is more. That's why the optimum pH range is 6 to 8. Here the 6 to 8, between 6 to 8, the enzyme catalysis is more. So that's why the optimum pH range is 6 to 8. So here at pH 7, that is nothing but neutral pH, the enzyme catalysis rate is very very high. Enzyme catalysis is very very high. So that's why that is called as optimum pH value. That is nothing but at neutral pH value. At neutral pH values, enzymes are highly active, and there the rate of reaction, enzymatic catalysis reaction, is very very high. So this is the effect of pH. So then next we are discussing effect of enzyme concentration. Effect of enzyme concentration. So here also, as we know, concentration of enzymes increases, automatically rate of reaction will be increases. Here the concentration of enzymes increases, automatically the rate of reaction also increases, because the rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of enzymes. Here the rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of enzymes. So that's why the concentration of enzymes increases, automatically rate will be increases. So here what happening, as the concentration of enzymes increases, automatically more active centers are available. Here the concentration of enzymes increases, automatically more active centers are available, because as the enzyme molecules are more, then automatically more substrate is binded to the enzymes. More substrate is binded to the enzymes. So then the rate of reaction would be increases. The rate of reaction would be increases. So here also, so this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. So on x-axis we are taking concentration, and y-axis rate of reaction. So here the concentration of enzymes increases, the rate of reaction will be increases. So here the rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of enzymes. Rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of enzymes. So here this is a enzyme, this is a substrate. Here the substrate will binded with enzyme and it forms enzyme substrate complex, and this enzyme substrate complex is converted to enzyme product complex. Enzyme substrate is converted to enzyme product complex, and this enzyme product complex, the product will leaves, and here free enzyme is formed. Free enzyme is formed. Finally, the free enzyme is formed. This free enzyme again react with substrate or binded with substrate, and again it forms enzyme substrate complex. Again it forms enzyme substrate complex. So as the enzyme concentration increases, more active centers, so more substrate binding takes place. So then automatically product would be very high in the less time. Enzyme concentration increases, more active centers is there, so more substrate binding takes place, then automatically product would be very high in the less time. So rate is automatically increases. Rate is automatically increases. So this is the effect of enzyme concentration. So then next we are discussing effect of enzyme activators. So here the most of the enzymes in our human body are formed or inactive in state. So the enzymes are there, but they may not be having the activity, or they are in inactive state. So here some of the molecules, here some of the molecules or some of the ions or some of the compounds will make that inactive enzymes to active enzymes. Here some of the molecules or some of the ions or some of the compounds will make that inactive enzymes to active enzymes. So those complexes or the compounds are called as enzyme activators. That is called as enzyme activators. So here what happened, most of the enzymes in our human body are formed or inactive in state. So the enzymes are there, but they may not be having the activity, or they are in inactive. So some of the molecules or some of the ions or some of the compounds will make that inactive enzymes to active enzymes. The inactive compounds are converted to active compounds, or inactive enzymes are converted to active enzymes. That is called as enzymatic activators. So here enzymatic or inactive enzymes are converted to active enzymes in presence of activator. In presence of activator. So the compounds or ions are the molecules which are converted inactive enzyme to active enzymes are called as enzyme activators. So for example, Na plus, K plus, Ca plus 2, Mg plus 2, Mn plus 2 ions are acting as a activators. So here these compounds which activates the enzymes. So because of the presence of activators, the enzyme catalysis rate would be increased. So here in this diagram, in the case of inactive, the enzyme rate of reaction is very less. So here in this diagram, in the case of inactive enzyme, the rate of reaction is very less. So when the active enzyme, the rate of reaction is very high. So because of the presence of activators, the rate of reaction will be increases. So here increases the activity of enzymes and automatically enzymes enzymes effectiveness is also increases. Enzyme effectiveness is also increases. So the next we are discussing effect of coenzymes. Effect of coenzymes. So as we know that what are coenzymes? The coenzymes are also similar to the enzymes. Generally, the coenzymes are also similar to the enzymes. So here the coenzymes which will increase the activity of enzymes. See, coenzymes are directly not involving in the reaction. Generally, the coenzymes are directly not involving the reaction. So here these coenzymes are involving in the reaction by increasing the activity of enzymes. So automatically the rate of reaction will be increases. So coenzymes increasing the rate of reaction by the increasing the activity of enzymes. So here generally vitamins are acting as coenzymes. Generally in the majority the vitamins are acting as a coenzymes of the biological reactions in our body. So these increasing the rate of reaction by increasing the activity of enzymes. So the next effect of enzyme inhibitors. So in some of the molecules or compounds or ions which may decrease or which may stop the activity of enzymes. So in that process, so what will happen? Inhibition is takes place in some of the molecules or ions or compounds which may decrease or which may stop the activity of enzymes. So in that process the inhibition is takes place. So that means the enzyme may be come inactive or may be less active. The enzymes are may become inactive or may be less active. So absolutely or abolishing of decreasing the activity of enzymes is called enzyme inhibition. So here the abolishing or the decreasing the activity of enzymes is called enzyme inhibition. So the compounds or complexes or ions which are decreasing or abolishing the activity of enzymes are called enzyme inhibitors. Enzyme inhibitors. So here so because of the presence of inhibitors, the rate of reaction would be decreases or it may be very less. So here, so this is the enzyme and substrate, and these substrate will approaches are attached to enzyme in the presence of inhibitor, and it forms enzyme inhibitor. So in the above reaction, so in this reaction the inhibitor bind to the enzyme, inhibitor is bind to the enzyme, so there is no active center for substrate. So the substrate bind may not takes place. So in this reaction the substrate is may not takes place, hence the reaction may not occur. So in this process, in this inhibition process, mainly here two processes there. One is reversible inhibition and second one is irreversible inhibition. So this is the effect of enzyme inhibitors. So in this reaction, so here, so this is the enzyme and this is a substrate. So here the substrate is not binded to the enzyme. So in this reaction the inhibitor is binded to the enzyme and it forms enzyme inhibitor. So in this reaction the substrate binding may not takes place, hence the reaction is may not occur. So this is the enzymes and enzymatic catalysis. Enzymes and enzymatic catalysis. Thank you.